Coming up tonight on YCN News, Claremont residents have a chance to make history with the Claremont Health Survey. Van McLeod, Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Cultural Resources, speaks in Warner. And a 37-year-old man from Rockingham, Vermont is charged with cruelty to children. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Claremont residents have another chance to make history up until September 30th. That's the date the Claremont Health Survey closes. YCN News spoke with Margaret Brown, Senior Project Coordinator for Rethink Health, about this project. What is the Claremont Health Survey?
So the Claremont Health Survey is a baseline health measure tool, and with that we are trying to get an understanding of how people perceive their overall health, people who live in Claremont, work in Claremont, or get services here in Claremont, whether that's healthcare services or other things here in Claremont. And so what is their perceived level of health? And then what is their access to health? So how easy is it for them to get a doctor's appointment with a primary care provider, a mental health provider, or dental provider? So with that, we're going to be looking at aggregating the data and making a community report, hopefully in December, where we will talk about the needs of Claremont where it relates to getting access to health and healthcare services.
Was Claremont chosen over other communities?
It was chosen over other communities. This was built as a project with funding from the Aetna Foundation, and initially with the group from Rethink Health and TDI, when we were looking at communities that could potentially benefit from having this type of individual, very ground level data, Claremont came to the top of potential communities. And then when we came here and spoke to some people like Peter Wright at Valley Regional, they very much saw the need for this, especially in light of the Anthem insurance network debacle that happened this year in New Hampshire, and how much that's had an impact on Claremont specifically. So while the survey isn't measuring that impact directly, we are seeing a lot of responses that are as a result of having that happen. So people who are reporting having to travel further to get medical care, or not getting any medical care at all because transportation is an issue. So that's one of the things that are coming out in the survey.
How many people are working on this project?
So right now we have a core team at TDI, which is the Dartmouth Institute for Health Policy and Clinical Practice. It's a health policy entity or public health entity of Dartmouth, and we have about 3 people there. There's myself. I have a health policy fellow that's working on that with me, and a project manager that is overseeing sort of the timeline and how managing the grant and all of that. And then there are a number of community partners here in Claremont actually that have been supporting the survey. So we want to talk about the city has been a huge advocate for this. We've got Valley Regional, and we've got groups like the North Country Smokehouse, and here at the community center, and the library, the Fifth Free Library, and many other groups that have come together to support this and try to get it out into the community and get as many people to take it as possible, as well as some of the bigger employers such as Red River. They've been a huge help on this as well.
Is there a deadline to meet?
Yes, we are actually going to close the survey on September 30th, and that will be the official end to the survey. That gives us time to go back and look at the data and make some analysis about what this data says about Claremont specifically and the people that live or work or get services here. And then we're hoping to have a community meeting in December, and so we need that time between September and the first week of December to be able to pull everything together, get the report, plan the meeting, and hopefully have a meaningful community input and discussion at that time.
How can people in Claremont help with the survey?
So we're in the planning stages now. I'm actually looking at for some community members in Claremont that might be interested in helping to plan such a meeting. And so anyone that's willing to help me find a venue, look at what needs to be provided as far as do we have snacks or don't we, and then also thinking about how to structure the meeting as far as presenting the data and what might be those outcomes that we want the community to really latch on to. So we want people to take this on. We want this to be a community focused initiative to make change. in regard to how you access services and what things need to be improved as far as accessing health and healthcare here in Claremont.
What else should people know about this project?
Yes, if you want to volunteer to be a part of this community meeting or you want to know more about the survey, you can always call me, Margaret Brown. My number is 603-667-7467. And if you want to take the survey, please go to ClaremontHealthSurvey.org.
As many Claremont residents as possible and from all backgrounds are encouraged to complete the survey. The more completed surveys, the more results to draw from. If 10% of the city's population, or about 1,300 people, participate, the final report will be better. The survey takes about 15 minutes to complete. Go online to ClaremontHealthSurvey.org. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/Claremont Health Survey. Rethink Health is part of the Dartmouth Institute. The town of Unity, New Hampshire got some good news from the company hired to oversee completion of its new school building. Trumbull Nelson Construction Company of Hanover says it expects to spend less than budgeted to finish the structure, the Eagle Times reports. The town's school board got the good news last night. Gordon Bristol, who works with Trumbull Nelson on behalf of the town, told the board about $50,000 less may be the sum. In March, for the second straight year, Unity taxpayers agreed to spend more money to finish the grades K through 8 school. Voters agreed to do so, another $2.75 million. Every community has a story to tell about its history and heritage. Sharing these stories with visitors is key for tourism programs. Let's learn more from Tuesday's meeting in Warner with Van McLeod, the New Hampshire Department of Cultural Resources Commissioner.
Well, we try to do our cultural and heritage tourism roundtables around the state, and today it was in Warner at the town hall, and actually we had probably the biggest crowd we've ever had. We had like 56 people come from all over the state, from up in the Moulton Borough area to down in the Keene area.
Yes, I'm Tracy Messer with the Monadnock Center for History and Culture in Peterborough, and I was really excited to hear about all the local collaborations here in Warner. I'm delighted to see the opportunity for us to network and collaborate with organizations throughout the state.
And here in Warner with the 5 museums and the Muse program they've got going, where the museums are partnering not just with themselves but with hospitality, hotels and restaurants in the area, really looking at building an audience for those museums, and they realize that collectively they do a much better job than they do individually. And the story they told today was fantastic about how they partner and work with each other and how they help each other with the problems that they have.
And people who are traveling to New Hampshire. It's a searchable database. It is free.
When you're looking at partnerships, as I said in there, you know, the hotel industry, it's heads in the beds. In the theater industry, it's butts in the seats. You know, it's all, it only works if you really partner with each other. If you want people to stay more than one night, you got to give them a place to stay. You want people to have a really good experience. They're interested in both outdoor activity, indoor activity, a good place to eat. All those things, you got to look at partnerships in a different way and not just look at your traditional partners you think within your industry, but who are those folks outside your industry?
If you would like more information about the next Commissioners' Roundtable, go to the New Hampshire Department of Cultural Resources website at nh.gov/nhculture. When YCN News returns, we'll learn why the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department says it's best to wear orange this time of year, and we'll learn about the Rockingham, Vermont man charged with cruelty to children.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. A reminder from the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department says it best. Make Blaze Orange your fall fashion statement. Hunting season is underway, along with hikers going for walks through the woods. Protect yourself with proper clothing to avoid hunting accidents. The Fish and Game's Hunter Education Coordinator Josh McKay says wearing Blaze Orange via a hat, vest, or jacket can be a lifesaver. Wearing orange is important for outdoors enthusiasts generally, but especially for hunters, says McKay. That's because the overwhelming majority of hunting-related incidents involve members of hunting parties. For more information on dates and details of New Hampshire hunting seasons, visit huntnh.com/hunting. Turning to Vermont news, a 37-year-old man from Rockingham is charged with cruelty to children and negligent motor vehicle operation. Peter Cherubini also is charged by state police with attempting to elude public safety officers. At 5:50 p.m. Tuesday, police tried to stop Cherubini for speeding on Route 103 in Rockingham. Driving 74 in a posted 50-mile-per-hour zone, police say Cherubini nearly lost control of his truck while driving over a bridge near Parker Hill Road. He did stop eventually, and throughout this chase, Cherubini's 2 children were with him in the truck. The children are 6 and 3 years old. Cherubini is scheduled to appear in Windham District Court on September 30th. When YCN News returns, we'll join Kearsarge Chronicles' Elizabeth D'Orazio, who met with Maureen Strachan from the New London Historical Society.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we'll have patches of fog after 2 a.m. with partly cloudy skies and lows in the 40s. Tomorrow morning will be foggy until around 9 a.m. Then we'll have partly sunny skies with a high of 65 degrees. Tomorrow night we'll have calm winds with a low of 44 degrees and partly cloudy skies. Friday temperatures will rise to a high of 73 degrees with sunny skies and winds around 5 miles per hour. Friday night we'll have mostly clear skies with lows in the upper 40s. You can see storms south of us, but they are not expected to reach us. Days will remain cloudy to sunny. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow, the Walpole, New Hampshire Select Board will meet at 6 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. And now let's take a look at high school soccer results from yesterday. Starting with girls soccer, the Hanover Marauders shut out Sanborn with a 3-0 final score. Another girls soccer game featured Kearsarge and Interlakes. Both teams scored 1 goal, finishing a tie game. Turning to boys soccer, Sunapee and Epping battled in a fierce game. However, Sunapee shut them out with a 2-0 win. In another shutout game, Kearsarge and Hillsborough Deering participated in the match. Kearsarge successfully defeated them 2-0. In a third shutout game, Stevens trampled Winnisquam 10-0.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor, who met with New Hampshire AFL-CIO President Mark S. McKenzie.
The YCN News continues in a moment.